Hi all, welcome back. So, Israeli and Palestinian music. I've lumped them together because, remember, they exist in very much the same area. Okay, they're right next door to each other in an area of the world we call the Middle East. The Middle East says a lot. The fact that it says it's middle means that it's got influences from both the Arabic world, so the North African and Arab world that is further to the east, and then it's got influences from Europe as well. And remember, Israel is largely populated from European immigrants. Okay, so these are people that have fled persecution throughout the whole of Europe. In fact, internationally, but mostly through the whole of Europe to form a new Jewish community in Israel. And then the Palestinians are the Arabic population, the Muslim-heavy population that exists in very much the same area. So we do have a clash of cultures in terms of religion, but in terms of like how people live their lives and what instruments are available, etc., 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 it's very similar. And actually, we're very close to Greece as well, and that's really the point I wanted to start at here. In the Greek lesson, I asked you to listen to this piece. And this is a Greek artist, okay, playing what we would describe as Greek music. But what I wanted to highlight was a couple of things that create the link between the European side of musicality and then the Middle Eastern side of musicality. So let's have a listen here. Oop. Sorry. So hopefully what you've noticed, and I'll just move this over, is that if we skip back to this bit, you can see quite clearly clarinet, violin and double bass. Now if we just pictured that, if we just took a picture of that, you'd be forgiven for thinking, okay, well this is going to be Western classical tradition. We've got clarinet, woodwind, we've got strings, we've got a plucked double bass, so it might even be jazz. Who knows? It might be folk, all right? But then when you journey back, right back to the beginning of the piece here, we've got three instruments right at the beginning that tell a very different story, okay? So let's just skip over that a minute. We've got the canon, which is this flat harp-like instrument, which is plucked with the fingers. Okay, it gives the sort of twangy sound. We see. Sorry, this is being very slow. We see the oud, which is the sort of pear-shaped guitar, more like a lute or a lyra. And then we've got the doumbek drum. And all these things exist in Palestinian music and Israeli music, and that's fascinating because we've got a real sort of concoction of instruments that are occurring in Greek music here. So and the only way I wanted to highlight that is because we've got a massive crossover. We've got a massive crossover in instrumentation between Southern Europe and the Middle East. Okay, now let's journey back and we're just going to go over a few key features that we see in Israeli and Palestinian music. So firstly, it's largely monophonic in texture, meaning that there is only one melody. There isn't contrapuntal melodies and layering of polyphonic ideas over the top of each other. It's monophonic, which means single line melodies. It's very modal, so we don't have traditional Western scales. We've got modes, which we call the makam. All right, these involve microtones, so little spaces in between the semitones. But it also means that they sound quite minor. We have pre-composed rhythms called the ikka. This is more Arabic in its ideals. We've got trills and ornaments on melodies to make them sound a little bit more flamboyant. Really simple chord accompaniment, or long drones on the rababa. All right, but very simple accompaniment. And the simple accompaniment usually goes from the tonic to the dominant. Dum, 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 1, 5, 1, 5. Okay, and especially in Israeli music, they're usually offbeat. Dum, dum, dum. Okay, and it creates this like pulsing or like sense of drive in the music. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a few pieces, and I would like you to try and see if you can recognise some of these instruments that we've talked about before, but also thinking about the texture. So is it monophonic? Or are there moments of homophony, or are there moments of polyphony? Think about the tempo. So this is really important. So a lot of the time we have like a speeding up of tempo, or we might have a rubato introduction and then a fixed tempo later on. And think about the rhythm. Does it emphasize the offbeat, or does it emphasize the onbeat? Has it got that like cha feel? And think about special techniques. Are there trills and ornaments that are used on the melodies to make them sound more complicated, or are they quite simplistic? And I've tried to trip you up a few times with the instrumentation as well. So it's not just a case of recognizing some of the Middle Eastern elements. Sometimes we'll have a mixture of Middle Eastern and Western elements. So you're going to have to be really specific about what you can hear. Okay, and put them into the forms section, please, on the assignments, and then that's it. Okay, but I'm not going to play the extracts on here. Right, all the extracts are embedded into the form. All right. Good luck, guys. Thanks very much. And if I don't see you before, have a wonderful summer holiday. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.